You are listening to the Empowering Working Moms podcast, Real Talk with Dr. Prianca Nayak, a show to help professional moms in survival mode to take hold of their lives and thrive. If you're ready to take powerful action to create your best life, then this is the show for you. I'm your host, Dr. Prianca Nayak, board-certified internal medicine physician and certified life coach. Now let's get to it and dive in. You are listening to the Empowering Working Moms podcast, episode number 9. Well, hello. I am so glad that you're tuning in this week. I hope things are going well for you. It is finally warming up here. I feel like it's summertime in the Northeast. I hope it's summertime for you as well. Today, I want to talk about gratitude practice because several years ago, when I started practicing gratitude, I did it because I was on this journey of happiness hacks, trying to figure out what would help make me happy. And I found that with daily gratitude practice, I was able to actually shift the way that my brain sees things, the lens I have on life. That has shifted from pessimism to perhaps, I shudder in saying this. No, I'm kidding. But but optimism. I'm optimistic. And you know what? I'm not going to be embarrassed about that. I am going to own that. And I am going to share that with you today. So listen up if you want to change your lease on life. If you're unhappy, if you're feeling stuck, trapped, you're not feeling confident, this practice of gratitude will help you to move that way. Are you feeling like crap, or maybe you feel like life gave you a raw deal in one way or another? Well, here's some tough love. You are creating this narrative for yourself. The shitty things that are happening to you, yeah, maybe they're shitty, but it's really the perspective or spin that you put on it. I say this because the power is there. It is within you. You get to decide. You have the freedom to choose and decide how you think about things. The thing about daily gratitude practice, the great thing about it is it's a basic, easy, free practice that really can take less than a minute a day, and it's going to help you to shift your perspective over time, regardless of what's happening to you, whether something unfair is happening to you, or whatever else that you feel is a half glass empty perspective. I actually used to be a pessimist, and I was pessimistic with the delusion that that was realistic. And honestly, that wasn't helping me. It was just making me freaking sad. But today I've metamorphosed into somebody who actually believes the impossible. And in fact, I find myself shying away from naysayers these days. Much of this shift was catalyzed by daily gratitude practice. So, how do we practice? Well, I'm not a big fan of daily journaling. It really just seems to add to my to-do list. So I tend to just recite 5 things I'm grateful for every day. I do it in the shower because that's something I can count on daily. I will dive into the details of daily gratitude practice at the end of this episode. But for now, I want to talk about why our brain functions the way it does and how gratitude practice can really help shift this. So, of course, we tend to go to the negative place. Our brains do that, right? It focuses on the bad. This is really in order to troubleshoot and a survival mechanism as well. But during a time when we are no longer cave people, this survival mechanism actually can harm us, and it really can make us unhappy and pessimistic. So, with gratitude practice, we can focus on what's going right. We can redirect the brain to the positive. We can put on rose colored glasses. Now, I want to clarify that I am no proponent of toxic positivity, but I also don't support being an Eeyore from Winnie the Pooh. There is a balance. In a world where there are a lot of terrible things happening right now, it is actually helpful to focus on what's going right to keep our spirits up. And there is so much that goes right. So often, we forget we have a roof over our heads. We forget we have running water. Or the kids who make a big mess. There was a time when we wanted those kids so badly. But our brain is actually an expert at taking things for granted because it's built to protect us. So it really focuses on what we need to protect ourselves from. I challenge you today to start seeing your life with a grateful lens every single day. I promise it will change how you see things. The length of time that the shift will take really depends on how deeply ingrained pessimism is within you, but you will see a change. I'm going to add in a tip too for feeling good immediately. So try acknowledging something you wanted for so long and didn't have. Here are a few examples. I was at H&M in the kids' clothing department, and I was looking at the girl stuff, and it was so adorable. I was thrilled to be there. I was grateful in that section. And you want to know why? Because I remembered that 3 years prior to that, I had been in Bloomingdale's shopping in the kids section, and I was looking for stuff for my son. There were barely any clothes for boys, but so many cute pieces of clothing for girls. And I really wished I had had a daughter that I could buy those cute clothes. And I didn't. And I thought to myself, well, I don't know if I'm going to have a daughter, but I can maybe buy clothes from my friends who have daughters. But I still felt, I felt that that was something I wanted. And fast forward 3 years later, I'm in the H&M section buying girl clothes and having the time of my life. And obviously, I'm so grateful for having a daughter because I really wanted a girl for so long. So she's not to be taken for granted. Another example is the career of medicine. So medicine for me, it didn't end up being what I thought it would be. But there was a time when I so desperately wanted to get into medical school. I didn't think at certain points I didn't think I would make it, but I did. And it's a real privilege to be a physician and to help people with their health. So that is something I shouldn't take for granted. Can you take a second to think of something you always wanted and now you have it, but maybe you've forgotten about how much you really wanted it at a certain point? Be it your spouse, your kids, your career, your beautiful house, or whatever else. And how do you feel when you think about that? Take a second to think about something that you really wanted. Kind of warm and fuzzy, right? At least that's how I feel. So it's easy for us to take our stuff for granted when we so badly wanted it, instead of just being grateful. So a huge happiness hack and factor lies in the feeling elicited by gratitude. By shifting our brains into gratitude, we really shift our lenses into a better space, and boom, we become happier. So when you're feeling like crap or having a bad day or in a rough spot, you can shift yourself, if you want, to a place of gratitude in an instant. You can name 5 things you're grateful for and get a quick boost. So let me give some information about the benefits of gratitude before I delve into the how. So with gratitude, your hypothalamus is activated and the brain is flooded with dopamine, which gives us a natural high. So we're more inclined to give thanks and do good. So the more gratitude we feel, then we feel healthier and happier. Remember, this is free. This is one of those things in life you actually don't have to pay for. And we can have better physical health. We can sleep better. This increases our resilience. Our mental health is improved. Dr. Robert Emmons, a leading gratitude researcher, has found that gratitude increases happiness and reduces depression. It makes us more resilient to trauma and stressful events. So how can we get ourselves to a more optimistic place in the long run? Well, we have to get ourselves into the habit of gratitude practice. How are you going to cultivate this gratitude habit practice? Okay, well, this is how you're going to do it. I'm going to tell you right now. Take notes if you need to, or you can refer to the show notes later. So, list 5 things you're grateful for to yourself every day and why you're grateful for it. I would suggest pairing this with an activity that you do daily, like brushing your teeth or showering. You can also write down what you're grateful for daily in a notebook, either first thing in the morning or before you go to bed at night. It's an awesome way to start or end the day. You can create a gratitude jar. Jay Shetty actually mentioned this on Instagram. He puts a small sheet of paper with something that he's grateful for each week in this jar, and then he reads it at the end of the year, which is pretty cool. You can also practice gratitude with your family, with your kids at the dinner table or bedtime. Before my 4-year-old goes to bed, he says what he's grateful for, as do I. So try any of these tips for a month and see how you shift. Remember, I used to consider myself a pessimist and realist, but I am so far from that today. These happiness hacks can really help you, even if you're unhappy in your career, even if you're in a dysfunctional marriage. I promise that gratitude practice will help shift your perspective to a better place and a better mindset. You will find yourself more confident and at peace. Thanks for tuning in this week, and I will talk to you next time. Thank you for listening to this episode of the Empowering Working Moms podcast, Real Talk with Dr. Prianca Nayak. If you are ready to get unstuck and out of survival mode to live your best life, I want to invite you to book a free 30-minute consultation call with me. To get started, visit priyankanayakmdcoaching.as.me. Link in the show notes.